This is Appalachian Television Omni-Media, improving America. 308. Local Wasteland time. If you're listening, it means the night still has a way of finding you. This is Midnight in the Wasteland. I'm Nightwatch. If you were sitting up here in the tower with me, your eyes would land on the same thing mine do when the song runs out. On the back shelf, between a dead radio and an empty lantern, there's a mole miner pickaxe. It isn't much to look at. Head chewed up from the stone. Handle wrapped in tape they gave a long time ago. Worth a few caps and scrap, maybe. But like most things that end up here, it came with a story attached. The kind that follows a man longer than the road does. I didn't see it happen. I wasn't there. This one came to me the way that most truth does out here. Secondhand, over a bad drink. A trader told me in a shack where the moonshine smelled like it dissolved more than corn. So I'll give it to you the way it was given to me. He said there's a place tucked back in the hills where the road gives up pretending to be a road anymore. Old Garrahan service lane. Just scars and ruts now. If you follow it far enough, you hit a moonshiner shack leaning into the side of a hill. No name, no sign. Just a crooked door and the kind of laughter you only hear when people are trying to forget things. Inside, the trader said it was the usual mix. Miners between jobs. Farmers with more worries than fields. A couple of scavvers waiting for someone else to say something stupid first. And a man in the corner. You know the type. Chair tipped back just wrong. Eyes half focused on nothing. One hand wrapped around a cup like it might run away. By his boot, a mole miner pickaxe. The trader didn't think much of it at first. Tools travel. Everyone's carrying something that used to belong to somebody else. It wasn't until the talk drifted to the mole miners that the room shifted. Somebody brought up the stories. You've heard them. Certain ones that carry sacks on their backs. People call them treasure hunters. They say if you drop the right one, its bag spills out enough wonder to wipe your slate clean. Gold. Legendary gear. Pre-war wonders in burlap. The kind of rumor that grows a little heavier every time it changes hands. Most folks laughed, told their versions, made the treasure bigger, and their part much braver. The man in the corner didn't laugh. He just stared at the table, like he was trying not to see something that was already there. Eventually the trader, being the kind of man who makes his living off stories, asked him straight, "You ever see one?" The man's fingers tightened on the cup. Then he let go of it, like that was his first mistake in a long list, and put his hand on his pickaxe instead. "Yeah," he said. "Once." He was down on caps, down on work, down on patience. He chased salvage until the numbers stopped adding up. Every scrap run cost him more than it brought in. Every job paid him promises first and excuses later. Then he hears it. This talk about mole miners with bags of treasure. Not from a radio. Not from anyone you'd call reliable. Just a voice over a bottle saying, all you need is one. One lucky find. One shot. One sack heavy enough to push the world back a few feet. So he starts watching the old tunnels near a forgotten Garrahan drift. Narrow cuts in the earth where the air smells wrong and the walls remember every collapse. He says he heard it before he saw it. Not the breathing. That came after. First there was a beep. A tiny sound, lost under the drip of water in his own pulse. Short, long, long. Short, short. Short, long. At first he thought it was his Pip-Boy, or some old meter buried in the rock. Then he saw the light. Around a bend, the tunnel opened just enough to let a man turn around without scraping his shoulders. And there, with its back turned to him, stood the mole miner. Suit patched with whatever someone could find. Pipes hanging tired off his back. Mask hissing in slow, labored pulls. On its shoulders, a pack. And bolted to the pack, a little unit blinking in time with that beeping. Short, long, long. Short, short. Short, long. He said for a second, it didn't look like a monster. It looked like a worker who never got told it was time to go home. Then he remembered the rumor, remembered that word, treasure. He saw the pack, and he thought about winters, about cans of food that weren't there, about debts that didn't care how tired he was. So he lifted the gun, picked the easiest angle in the world, a back that didn't know it was being aimed at, and fired. Mole miners don't fall gracefully. They come apart slow. Knees hit first. Hands go to whatever's closest. Stone. Air. Nothing. He said it dropped forward, mask scraping against the rock, breathing turning into wet whistles. That sounded too human for something people like to call a creature. It clawed at the ground, like it thought there was one more step that would fix everything. There wasn't. All the while, that little unit on its back just kept chirping. Short, long, long. Short, short. Short, long. He waited for the sound to change, for it to speed up, like it knew it was dying, for it to slow down, like it was giving up. It didn't. It just did its job. When the body quit trying to move, he went for the bag. He opened it like a child who'd been promised something. Inside, he found a handful of ultracite scrap, edges dull from being handled too many times, bent titanium framing, twisted into shapes only a smelter would be grateful for. The head of a flashlight, with the lens cracked and the bulb rattling loose. A few loose rounds that didn't even match its weapon, and then a rag with a Garrahan print worn almost white. It was wrapped around the pile like someone had believed in keeping things neat. And then the pickaxe. No gold, no miracle weapon, no ticket out. Just the kind of junk any tired miner might carry. If you remember, they were even miners at all. Behind him, on the stone, the mole miner made one last wet, ugly gasp through his mask. The beeping didn't care. Short, long, long. Short, short. Short, long. He said that was the first moment he had the thought. He should have never even pulled the trigger. What if this noise isn't a lock on a treasure bag? He dug through the pack again, pulled the unit free, cracked the casing with the butt of his gun. Inside, under rust and cave sediment, there was a stamped logo and 3 worn letters. G-M-K. Garrahan Mining Kit. Emergency module. Distress loop. You stop moving too long underground. The pack starts calling. Not to you. For you. Short, long, long. Short, short. Short, long. Factory Morse. For a message that used to mean something like, ready. Garrahan Mining Kit. Worker down. Send help. The mines collapsed. The companies folded. The radios went quiet. The miners changed. The beacon never got the memo. It just kept doing what it was built to do. Screaming into dead channels that somebody was trapped and needed a shovel. Not a bullet. He realized, standing over that body, that he hadn't killed a walking treasure bag. He killed something broken that was still wearing an unanswered cry for help. And the only thing he took away was proof of that, the pickaxe. Back in the shack, the trader said the man's voice ran out right there. He sat for a while, like he'd been hollowed out. Then he shoved the pickaxe away from his boot, like it had burned him. Tried to sell it, he muttered. Couldn't. Every time someone asked where I got it, I heard that damn beeping again. Short, long, long. Short, 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 long. So here, he told the trader. You take it. It's not treasure. It's just proof that I listened to a rumor louder than I listened to a distress call. The trader said he didn't sleep well that night. Picked up the tool in the morning anyway, because that's what people do. We carry things we don't quite understand, at least until we find somewhere else to put them. Eventually, it ended up here, on a shelf, in a tower, that has a room for other people's mistakes. Out in the wasteland, we are rich in stories and poor in accuracy. We tell each other about shortcuts, about easy scores, about the one haul that will make the next winner seem like someone else's problem. We learn to hear the word treasure and assume that whatever stands between us and it is fair game. What we're worse at is recognizing the sound of something that's just asking to be dug out. The old world left a lot of signals still buzzing away in the dark. Warning signs and warning lights that no one answers. Beacons that ping, and ping, and ping some more, expecting a rescue crew that isn't coming. Sometimes they're attached to machines. Sometimes they're attached to people. The only choice we get, most nights, is whether we treat that noise like a lock or a lifeline. That pickaxe behind me won't buy much. It won't fix anybody's ledger. It won't hang over a bar and impress strangers. But every time I look at it, I remember a man who learned too late that he hadn't hunted a legend. He had walked into a mine and chosen a rumor over a rescue. We've all done that in smaller ways. Shot first, asked later, believed the louder voice instead of the truer one. So if you're out there and you hear the word treasure tangled up with a noise you don't quite understand, give it one more second. Listen to the pattern. Ask yourself if it sounds like a payoff or like a call someone started sending 25 years ago and never got to turn off. You might still pull the trigger. You might still open the bag. That's between you and whatever sleeps under the ash heap. But if you walk away, carrying something heavy that you can't quite sell, you'll know you heard this story once, and you'll know what that weight is called. You've been listening to Midnight and the Wasteland. I'm Nightwatch. I'll be here as long as the tower holds and the signal finds its way back to you. Until then, if you see a light blinking where no one's left to answer, or hear a little noise that won't quite quit, don't be too quick to decide it belongs to you. Sometimes it's not a prize. Sometimes it's just the world still asking very politely if anyone's coming with a shovel. Good night.